I love you as a photographer is because I look at your images and it's almost like they all tell a story. How hard is that to do with a camera?
A photo that tells a great story and I am passionately attached to it, emotionally attached to it, and you put it out there and it's only seen by 25 people. It doesn't have a voice. So what does the story matter?
Hey, everybody, it's Elizabeth Maude with Maudie's Digital Marketing. This is our first podcast, and I've got Brady Campbell, the Brady Campbell, with me today. We're going to be talking about things that have to do with marketing, business, all the great things. We're going to be talking about what Brady does, what I do, and how that all ties into why it's important to you. Brady, why I wanted you as my first guest. Me and you have had like so many great conversations. I love whenever I meet somebody that I can actually have marketing conversations with. Our producer, Dan, is also one of those people. Like I could sit and talk with him for hours and hours about, the marketing industry and how important it is, and also how every single facet is important of marketing. And I love what I do because I can prove return on investment, but what you do is just as important for, the marketing to actually work. One thing that I always tell business owners is actually the creative, which is, the image or the video, is actually the most important part of marketing. It really is. Yeah.
Without a voice, what does the image even mean?
Well, see, here's the difference
visual,
though, is that because one of the reasons why I love you as a photographer is because I look at your images and it's almost like they all tell a story, right? And how hard is that to do with a camera?
I mean, I think it's hard. It's a still image. But you notice that the algorithms change over time, and of a photo that tells a great story and I am passionately attached to it, emotionally attached to it, and you put it out there and it's only seen by 25 people.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a voice. So what does the story matter?
Well, that's from your perspective though of organic social media, because what I specialize in is paid social media. And I think that's where a lot of people fall short, is that they don't understand that social media is, all social media platforms, how they make money is advertising. And so you wouldn't expect to get a free TV commercial, of your business on TV, and a lot of people think, oh, all I got to do is post on social media. But if you're not paying to play, then nobody is going to see your business.
I think in an idealistic world, I'm just like a discovered artist. Like people were like, you need to hashtag your photo so it gets seen. And I'm like, no. At some point, somebody's going to discover me, right? I don't know if some people believe in manifestation. So that's coming for me if it's coming,
Yeah, for sure. I believe in manifestation.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I really do.
So I could die by the organic sword because I refuse to do all of the things that you're supposed to do because I feel like I'm selling out. If I have to post something really cool, but then hashtag 14 hashtags for people to see it, I don't know. It feels like a sellout.
Yeah. I mean, I don't use hashtags, but I also pay for advertising. So I technically am a sellout. So
no, I mean, I can understand the pay for advertising, but I think where you piqued my interest was directing it towards the right clientele. Mm-hmm. Because if I just boost any of my material, it could be shown to other photographers, people that are like naturally interested in what I do, but are never going to hire me.
Right.
So I could end up with 500,000 followers, which I don't have, but I could end up with 500,000 followers of people that would never hire me.
Right. Well, that's one of the reasons why, a lot of people out there will say that you need to do educational content. And that's why I'm against doing educational content, is because you'll end up with a lot of followers that are just trying to do the exact same thing as you, not people that want to hire you.
Right.
I mean, there's that piece of like where you need to educate people so that it builds trust in you and what you're doing, but at the same time too, it's like, well, do you want to build a page that has followers that, you eventually want to hire you? Or do you want to build a page, is it just followers that's important to you,
But building content that other people would want to buy, that there is value in that.
Right. 100%.
Plus that's making money while you sleep too.
Yes, totally.
So if I'm only marketing to people that pay me when I work, that means I'm not making money unless I'm working.
Right.
Which, if I get injured or if I get old, like whatever happens, I could end that.
I often say that there's a couple of different ways to do social media. And one of those ways is to do entertaining content. But that is, again, not attracting the people that are actually going to pay you money. And so a lot of people chase these trends and things like that on social media, like they do crazy things, dances and all sorts of stuff, and I don't think what they're really attracting is like people that are scrolling on social media all day long. And again, not getting in front of the right people that, are ready for their service, ready to pay for it, things like that, which again is, one of the things that makes me very unique in the social media space is, that for one, it doesn't take a long time to get return on investment. So, it's like, okay, this is working, how can we make this better? Because that's really all that marketing on my end of things is building on the data that we have. Right. But a big part of that is because we are able to get in front of the people that are ready to, take action and hire a photographer to do their branding photos and things like that.
You just had me thinking of another thing simultaneously, which means I wasn't listening fully. But I'm
glad that you can admit that.
But I was thinking about, when there's another way that I don't sell out, and that's to say that I won't post like 10 of the same kind of headshots in a row to tell people that I do headshots.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if I hired somebody like you to do that direct marketing to find those clients, you would need to post the kind of the same type of content so that the world knows exactly what I do.
Yep. This
goes from my business life into my personal life that I have never been very narrow focused on what I want.
Yeah.
Or even have asked for it. Whereas let's say if I want to do professional headshots and I want that to be like a large source of income in my pie chart of sources, then I would need to tell people that I do them.
Right.
But I can't do it. It bores me to like say that I do the same stuff over and over and over again.
Right. Well, I always say the first 3 to 5 posts are like super important to whatever it is that you're advertising for, so like kind of the customer journey, whenever you're advertising, somebody will see your ad, they'll click over to your page, kind of see what it is that you do. If they see other headshots, great, it's kind of an opportunity though to like show that you do other things as well, not just headshots, but you do kind of have to stay hyper-focused on what it is that you do, and not be like squirreling off into your personal life too much,
But if I don't squirrel off, then people don't know who I am. Have you ever tried to like look through somebody's business like feed, like on Instagram or something, and you're just like, I wonder who they are.
Yes.
What do they look like?
Yep.
And you can't find it.
Yes. And so, I mean, you've seen my marketing. What's on my marketing?
Yeah. I almost Freudian slip. I almost said you complaining. No, you're speaking truth.
Yeah.
You speak truth.
Listen, that I know what video you're talking about. I did not post that on my business page. I posted that on my personal page.
And you're vulnerable.
Yeah.
Which is another thing. The algorithm loves vulnerability, which is it kind of tells you what the world is wanting to perpetuate.
Yep.
Which is also another weird thing.
Yes.
I have found out that if I post like a really good-looking shot of a good-looking boy, it doesn't get seen nearly as much as a good-looking girl.
Right.
Like, why is the algorithm telling me this? Like, that doesn't. I don't think it's helping the world with what the algorithm is asking us to promote.
No, I 100% agree with you, but like you do understand that the algorithm literally is just reading data with what people interact with. And
Makes sense.
We've talked about this too, right? Because what are those things that we talked about? Dogs, sex.
Yeah.
Humor, that's another one. And also drama being the number one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Controversial material.
My elbow hurts.
Yeah, my elbow hurts. Nobody's gonna know what you're talking about.
I'll send the video to Dad and he can input it. My elbow hurts.
My mom's about to be famous.
Yes.
My elbow hurts. Oh, what's this? Core CBD gummies sitting right next to me. Oh, I'm going to dive into those and take care of some of this pain. Oh, that tastes good. Oh, I like that. That makes me want to watch TV.
Isn't it funny that Jess's first question and my first question were both the same thing? We were wondering who that lady was.
Well, yeah.
Where did you find her?
And also, most people that I've sent them to, like, they don't know that I'm doing the voiceovers.
Oh, they don't?
No.
See, I could tell.
You knew right away.
You. Yeah. I could tell that it was you. Yeah.
This is the problem with humorous material is in my life, I'm not always feeling humorous.
Right.
So if I was going to create consistent content, man, I'd have to be a really good actor.
Right.
Because there are just days.
Well, that's why, I mean, going back to my own marketing, like on the days, you know what I mean? Like, honestly, whenever I'm making content, especially, you know, like even whenever I'm like advertising and stuff, you know, it's like there's so many different points that I could make, but I honestly just make video on whatever is going on, you know, like,
Yeah.
because there's always so much going on, you know, whenever you work with so many different people to where it's like, okay, this person had this problem, like, let's just talk about it. And then, you know what I mean? How we helped them fix it, you know? And sometimes that does involve complaining, you know, to where it's like, I mean, and I know that you know too, there's a lot of work in photography. And there's also those people out there that think I could snap my own picture. You know what I mean? Like, I can always tell whenever people don't value a service, whenever they're like, I need a photographer. We only need a couple of pictures, not that big of a job. You know what I mean?
I've heard that so much.
Yeah.
So much.
Yes. You know, and it's like, and honestly, like, I don't care if it's, you know, 5 headshots, you know, that I need for my business. Like, I know the time that goes into even scheduling people to get them in, then, you know, the editing, making sure that it, you know, meets that quality, which, by the way, is another reason why I wanted to have you on here, is like, because the quality of images that, you know, it's like very consistent that come from you, you know, to where it's like, whenever you see Brady Campbell and the work that he does, it's, you know that you're going to get good pictures back, you know, versus like I've talked to you about, you know, some of the pictures that I've hired out from people, you know, that's like, I would never share them, never, you know, that we paid a lot of money for, you know. And so whenever we're talking about paying a lot of money for a great service, one of the reasons why I'm willing to pay for you specifically is because of your experience, you know, like, you know what you're doing and you know how to, you know, get something great done with whatever it is that you're giving. Even whenever you have, you know, your little blocks where, because we've had to talk some of those out, you know, like with product pictures and things like that, which now that you've done it and they're great, you know.
It took off a lot of pressure to start working through those thoughts with you. Like, we're not looking for, well, not necessarily, I was going to say precise and perfect like imagery of these things, like they're going to go on a billboard. We're looking for content for every single season. Mm-hmm. And I had to take off some pressure because the next best thing to perfect is finished.
Yes.
And in the marketing world, like, you really have to have the content put out there. You can't wait until it's achieved or till you've reached this like pinnacle of perfection.
Yes. Exactly.
It has to be done. And then I started to think about all these ideas. I was like, oh man, this opens me up. I could try this and try this and try this and try this. And like,
yeah,
give you 50 ideas, even if only 3 work, instead of waiting for the one.
Right. Totally.
Which could be a year. Who knows,
yes,
you know?
Totally. Well, and I've talked to you before about too, you know, to where, going back to the beginning of this conversation, that the number one thing that's most important in what I do is the video or the picture. You know, the number 2 most important thing is the headline, and then the copy, and then of course, you know, the landing page where those people are going, because everything, you know, kind of has to align. And some videos that, you know, I have clients that have paid a ton of money for videos, and they were like the worst, the very worst advertising that we've ever done versus videos that we've done with our iPhones, you know? And so it's like an iPhone video can help make a client, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then they pay $5,000 for one video, not even, you know, a bunch of different content. And I mean, we can't even get one lead, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So then your thought on like a restaurant starting out brand new, you know, do they take that mentality and only put up mediocre stuff, but a lot of it? Or do they start off with like super professional high-end photos and videos that say we're set apart? So
I think that what I would recommend to anybody, whether it's a restaurant or anybody else, is that they need to go high end with great visual. But don't put all of their pennies into one thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you're going to spend $5,000, don't make one video. You know what I mean? If you're going to spend $5,000, let's get 45 pictures or whatever, you know, because then that gives us 45 different tests that we can test versus one. Because what are we going to do if that one doesn't work? I guarantee you that 1 out of 45 is going to work, you know? Yeah. And we can make that $5,000 back, you know, almost, you know, I mean, it's not going to take very long depending on how much money they're putting into their advertising, you know, but if we have one video that is not going to work, you know, we're not going to make any money off of that. You know, like okay, great. You've got a cool video. You know what I mean?
And I'm as a photographer, I look at these businesses and I see their cool documentary video that they've spent $5,000 on or $10,000 on, and I love it.
Right.
but I'm not their customer or their client.
Right.
Like, and it's funny how many industries that I judge that way. I'm like, oh, your website sucks, or your
Right.
I don't tell them this, but I'm like, I look at their images or their videos. I'm like, this is terrible.
Right.
But I'm not their client.
Right.
So
yeah,
it's very, and I think about a lot of the blue collar industries too.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to go in there and be like, hey, can I do your next banner for your truck or your next, wrap? Or
Right.
can I do the photos for your next headshots or something? But they're like, we're crushing it.
Mm-hmm.
We're grossing millions each year.
Yep.
Because they obviously know where to put their money.
Right.
And they do good work. You have
Mm-hmm.
to, like, I have always believed that in all of these industries, including mine,
Yep.
is when I first started, I said I would never charge more than I was worth.
Mm-hmm.
Which, granted, there's some truth to that and also not. Because if it's always only charge what I think I'm worth, then it'll be like
Right.
this, up and down,
Yep.
up and down, up and down.
Totally.
I'm not worth anything today.
Yes.
$5,
Yep. I'll just do it for free.
So at some point I had to get, no, you don't just charge what you're worth to you. You charge what they say you're worth, what
Yep.
the industry or what the clients say you're worth. You got to charge what do they say? What the, like kind of what the masses can pay. That's
Mm-hmm.
what you charge, not necessarily what you think they should pay.
I don't
You're-
know. Do you think that?
Yeah, I think you're always pushing the limits
Mhm.
to see what the world will pay you. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you think that you like base your worth off of, because there's always going to be that level of person that, I even have it in my industry, where like, because you can find somebody to like do some social media posts for you and pay them $200 a month. You know what I mean? They might boost some posts and things like that. They might not know how to run ads, but there's the people that will hear what it costs to work with us and they're like, oh my gosh, and it's like, then there's the people that are like, where do I sign? You know what I mean? Let me put some
Masses
money
was
in
the
here.
wrong word.
Okay.
Masses was the wrong word because I operate the same way you do.
Mhm.
As long as I can prove that there's somebody willing to pay that price,
Yes.
I'm not.
There you go.
overpriced.
So the one out of the masses.
yeah.
Yes.
Sorry,
Yep.
but
Yep. There you go.
But the culture, like these people that do pay me, they provide me that like level of insight that I need to say, okay, we're charging the right amount.
Right.
Sometimes I can price myself out of that too,
Right.
and I might have to scale that back.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because I would love to just pick a super high price and go with it, but you have to. There still has to be proof that it's the right price.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
And I think the proof behind the right price is being able to deliver value.
Right.
I'm definitely that kind of person where I don't go into a meeting with somebody. Like I would never come into a meeting with you and have an idea in my mind of what you should be charging me. You know what I mean? I go into a meeting where it's like, what is the value of what it is that you're charging me? You know what I mean? Tell me how much it is and show me what I can expect,
And you're also going in with your own budget too. So
Yes.
if you're smart that way.
Well, I wouldn't say that, I either value it. Yeah, I always teach my kids, we do not ever say that we can't afford something. We either value it enough to pay for it or we don't.
Or we can't afford it.
No.
You could value it and not be able to afford it.
Because if I value something, then it's like for me, if I need something, like if I want to go to Mexico, I'll take on another client in order to do that. If that means that I have to work on the weekends, I value it enough to put in the work for it.
Well, listen to that privilege.
Yeah. Yep. All that
If I want
privilege.
more money, I just go out and ask for it. And I get it. I want to go to Mexico, I just go.
You know what I do? If I want more money, I turn on my advertising. That's exactly what I do.
Too many clients turn it off. Yeah.
Well, that's whenever I start hiring. Right now we have it off because we have a lot of clients. So I have to get, I like to have everybody dialed in and making money, getting the return on investment before I, bring on a bunch of other people.
Yeah.
Because you're really not growing a business if you cannot keep the people that you already have happy, So I really focus on like that quality of service before I chase quantity. But with all that being said, it's not like it takes a year to get people to the point of where they're making enough money where they're happy. You know what I mean? Once we get the data, and it really takes people get results within, the first month, but it really takes about 4 months for them to peak out, for us to build enough data. And 4 months is like, okay, this is what they can expect. We know how much cost per purchase or cost per lead is. We can base whatever their goals are, with their budget on that. So, if they want 50 extra leads a month, then we're going to take how much their average cost per lead is and say, okay, if you want 50 extra leads, this is how much you're going to have to put into your advertising. They're like, okay.
Since it's such a mathematical and scientific approach, is it easy to hire then?
No.
Oh, okay. So
It is not. So my side of it, I've not ever had luck in hiring or training, actually. People just don't want to, because people want to think of it as a set it and forget it. Like they don't want to continuously look at it. They don't want to, chart all of the data and watch where things are going and make the changes needed. Literally every single time what they want to do is set it and forget it. Oh, it's not working. What do I need to change? You know what I mean? It's like you would know what you needed to change if you were looking at this every day. You know what I mean?
So then the bigger question for you is, how do you get them to take on a level of interest in Maudie's that you take? And therein lies the rub.
Well, I 100% agree with you. I mean, we have a great bonus structure, but at the end of the day, I think that I really think that we're just in an era where people that work hard are hard to find. And if they don't already own their own business, they will soon. You know what I mean? And I don't want to bring people on that that are just going to start their own business and become my competitor,
But then you kind of do, because those are the people that are going to be thinking when they're at home.
Right.
And they're going to be doing the analytics on their own. And I mean, you just have to figure out how to keep those people on for as long as you can.
Right.
But have a system set in place where they could leave and you can replace them.
Right.
Yeah. These are all things that I could tell you, but I refuse to hire anybody. Because
I was going to say, where's all your employees?
I had that in 2015. I went through a divorce, and I just kind of I was a mess. I just, I was kind of doing that thing where I'd go do a photo shoot, then I'd pass out, and then I'd go do a consult and I'd pass out. I was just having adrenal fatigue, and I didn't want to be in the studio unless I had to be. And so that wasn't the greatest leadership. And I went through 3 studio managers in a row, and I couldn't keep anybody on. And everybody started falling off, and I kind of gave up, and I was like, well, the business is going to go under in 2015.
Yeah.
Oh, well. But
that was 10 years ago.
I know.
You're still here.
But then it wouldn't die. I was like, will you just die? No. 2015 was rough. I was I was okay with the idea that it would just kind of tank itself. And it just didn't. It kept going because I had set up such a strong foundation.
Yeah.
That the reputation just kept me going. Even though there was people I had to apologize to, for my lack of customer service or not getting back to people in time, because I became the technician in every field of my job. And that was really difficult. However, once I adjusted and got used to doing everything on my own, I couldn't imagine babysitting again.
Yeah.
Because I was also taking home the same amount of dollars as I was when I had a full staff. And I didn't have to babysit.
Yeah.
I was like, dang, I don't
know. It's funny because I actually just about a week and a half ago realized that I made more money whenever I didn't have employees. But at the end of the day, they do take a lot off my plate, and they do a really good job with the stuff that they do.
And eventually you're going to find, you said doo-doo. Eventually you're going to find another Liz.
Yes.
And you're going to see something. You're going to be like, you're going to be buying this place.
Yeah.
You're going to buy this from me.
Yeah.
So definitely should change the name sooner than later.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just kidding.
No, it's funny because it's everybody's always like, who's Maudie? Are you Maudie? And it's well, no, there really is no Maudie. I am Maudie, that's my nickname growing up, but really anybody can take over Maudie's because it's,
That's true. I used to be Brady Campbell Photography, and that was rough.
Yeah.
Because, it's kind of small, small in mentality. But when I sold my first studio, it was called Artisan Portrait and Design, not attached to me at all.
Yeah.
And then I changed 15 or 10 years ago to BC Photography. Just still got my name.
Yeah.
And my website still has my name in it.
Yeah.
It's okay.
So let's go before 2015, whenever you got started. I know you've told me this story before, but you really just kind of fell into photography, and it really just, how long have you been doing this now? 25 years?
Yeah, in 1999 or 2000. I can't remember the exact year. I had a girlfriend that worked at a retail shop in the local mall, and I just liked going in to see her. And I was visiting her one day. This guy that I went to high school with popped his head out this camera store that was across the hallway from her retail shop, and we just got to catching up. And he was like, hey, I'm leaving this job today. You should apply and take my position. So I was like, dang, okay, I could work at this camera shop, be close to my girlfriend. This is a great idea. So I took that job, And, it was like a brief interview. I don't remember filling out an application. I don't remember. I haven't filled out an application or a resume in longer than I can even think. I can't think back that far. But anyway, so I start this job and the boss gives me this camera. He's like, we're trying to sell this new camera, which was a Canon EOS Rebel X, 35 millimeter. And it's a piece of plastic. It's
right.
a hunk of junk now, but he handed me this and gave me a sheet with all of these different shots that he wanted me to show what it could do. So I took it out for a week and I was like I was shooting a close-up fat flower or like a person backlit or whatever it was.
Right.
I saw all these shots. And so during that week, I shot the heck out of my girlfriend, and anything like that I saw in a movie that looked inspiring lighting-wise or texture-wise, I went out and just like shot it. Even if it's abstract, box cars or whatever it was. Anyway, after that week, I was hooked. I was absolutely hooked. And I just never put down a camera again.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought a camera right after that. And to think back to like the camera that I spent $700 on back then, and it's not even worth a dime anymore. Like they were terrible. But anyway, I knew that I had like such a passion for it at that point.
Mm.
I'd always seen the world differently. Like I'd always like looked at things from more like critical angles, getting down on the ground or looking at things. I've always been interested in watching movies for the lighting, the angles, how they set things up, the discrepancies where they mess up when they, show a close-up shot of a couple and then they show a faraway shot and I'm like, the lighting doesn't match up. And
right.
So I'd always been like that, but now I had a tool to like work that and prove
right.
it and not only see the world differently, but now like portray it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really, really cool. So 2001 or 2000, I think it was in 2000 that I worked for this professional camera shop. And that's when pros started coming in asking us to print their photos. We were selling them used camera equipment. And so I got to know a lot of the professionals in the area just through that job.
Mm-hmm.
And I was upstairs mostly just printing pictures, which that's a nerve-wracking deal. We have digital now where you snap a shot and you look at the back of the camera and you're like, how did I do?
Right.
Back then, I was waiting for the film to come out of the developer to see if there was any images on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've waited like, I don't know how long, a week, to get the film
PTSD.
back. And
I could see it in your body just now. You were
crazy.
like,
It was every time. Did I even put film in the camera?
yeah.
So, anyway, everything was physical and tangible and,
Would you say that made you a better photographer because you didn't have that ability to see and, make the changes needed? So you may have been looking to make those changes before you even took the shot?
Only because I screwed up a lot more. Because you didn't know you were screwing up.
Right.
So this is, I'll tell you twofold. So I would do a whole session. Somebody said, hey, will you shoot me and my sisters? I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, but yeah, sure. Come on over. It's free, or $100. Maybe it was $100. And I remember shooting all these pictures and my flash sync was off, which means that my shutter speed on my camera was too fast. And so they put this like white band across all the photos, every single one of them. So I had a lot of shoots like that.
And you had to call them and ask them to come back? Or
Yeah, or crop it appropriately, or just they knew you were learning. They didn't pay much. Maybe you did it for free. I mean, it's not a big deal. But I remember like those experiences were so painful that you better yourself next time. And you take more care and you think about it. And I had one where I finished a whole session and I took the roll of film out of the camera and I dropped it and it just unraveled.
Oh, no.
Whole session gone. And she was the coolest client because I said, we have to do this again. And she goes, okay. And we literally did the whole session again then. And she was great about it. And I never had any backlash from that, but I've thought about it nonstop for 25 years.
I mean, obviously, because we're talking about it now in 2025.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then come to today in the digital era, I'm shooting this wedding in Paris. And the client will probably see this and it'll be embarrassing, but that's okay. But like there wasn't an itinerary of the reception. I never had an itinerary of the reception. So I was just there to capture whatever. Well, I had never had this happen in all my 25 years of shooting, but I'm shooting all these dance pictures. It's super fun. I have my lighting set up right. And then all of a sudden this cake is like pushed in and it's got fireworks shooting out of it and just, it's just spraying. And I take my first picture. I'm like, oh, I didn't know this was coming. I had no idea. Nobody told me about a cake on fire.
Right.
So it's coming in.
I've got to get this now.
I shoot a picture and it's like 18 stops overexposed, you know? Just blasted. The couple's just like ghost white. And so I set my camera as fast as humanly possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember in the moment, I was like spinning my dials and I keep shooting. And I thought, this is why they pay me. This is why people pay me the big bucks, because this just happened. And I knew exactly what to do on the fly while the cake is 2 feet from the couple.
Yeah.
And these pictures, if you saw, did you see that?
I did.
They were gorgeous.
Yes.
They were gorgeous photos. But I was panicking just a little. But I only had like a half a second to panic. It was just like, oh my gosh.
Right.
You know, and go.
Yeah.
They could have told me a cake was going to come out and it was going to be on fire. But, you know, those moments are like unforgettable. I will never forget about that cake.
Yeah.
And then that same client, actually, I was shooting a speaking like conference that he was the keynote speaker for. And I remember walking into that room, that this like conference room to shoot, and I thought, this is why I get paid the big bucks too, because the lighting was really bad. Like the whole thing is, you know, just like wall sconces, and then he's on a stage that's unlit, so he's just in the darkness. And I was like, man, I know exactly what to do right now.
Yeah.
On the fly. And they only gave me like 10 minutes to set up my gear because I couldn't come in the room with my gear before the last speaker was done. And anyway, those moments, like you said when you were speaking before, is like you know that when I put out something, I'm going to put out something that the client likes.
Yeah.
And it will be consistent.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm thrown into these arenas where, I mean, I have to think on my feet so fast and set up, and it's not what I would choose for perfection. I would have a 5-light setup, 3 assistants, and I'd have an hour to set up and try things out. But that's not the case most times. It's usually like, it's go time and you're on the fly and this sucks and you got to fix it.
Right.
You know? So I think I did a great job on that. But so when somebody asks me what I charge, or they even come up to me and they're like, you're so expensive. And I just say, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and it is what it is, you know, because I'm thinking right now as you're talking, everything that you're saying is exactly why I would pay for, you know, what your prices are, is because I don't want to end up with pictures that, you know, the mistakes that you made 25 years ago, you know, like I would not expect somebody that's brand new into photography to be charging those prices, you know? And so for me, I kind of gauge like what to expect on what their price is, you know, where it's like, okay, you know, like you're going to get a good service, not necessarily that like what is going on in photography nowadays. Cause I really feel like people, they, especially with AI and stuff, you know, like, because AI is a great tool. I don't care what it is that you're using it for. You still have to have experience in, you know, marketing or photography to have, you know, a great end, you know, picture, right? And I feel like a lot of people are just going out and buying cameras and they're like, I can take these pictures and I'm going to charge you, you know, as much as the most that you know, Brady Campbell's charging, right? And then you end up with something that is not like, you know, what I would expect from Brady Campbell, you know, like, how do you separate yourself from those kind of photographers, you know?
We also touched on this before we recorded, that I've never really been the gimmick guy. Mm-hmm. So I've set myself this, I mean, like I say, people say that I'm expensive. They tell me that. Some people don't even know my prices. They're just, they've heard through the grapevine that I'm expensive. So that's kind of like filtered the right clientele that, you know, already see value in what I do. Mm-hmm. And they want the best. They know they're going to get the best. And so they're willing to pay for the best. And so that has set me apart for a very long time, because very early on, I had decided I'm not going to be that mini session guy. Because in mini sessions, when you said there could be a photographer that wants to charge my prices, but then maybe they don't deliver, it's more often not that people charge way, 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 way less than me. Mm-hmm. And they're doing like things that like a mini session, I think is actually, it's a cool idea for a family that can come in and they have well-behaved children and like everybody does what they're supposed to do in the 15, 30 minutes. And it's great. But I know that's not the case. Like I know you're playing the numbers game. Yeah. And sometimes I have a family come in with small children and I have to spend 15 minutes just getting to know the kid.
Right. Because
or half an hour
they're
sometimes.
Crying,
yeah,
or they're like looking at you like,
And I've got this small window of time. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of good that come from those sessions. I see the results. I know that they're not posting everything because who would?
Right.
None of us post everything we should.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
Some of it isn't like the most prideful, but so what sets me apart, we already talked about, is that I have put in the work. Over 25 years, as I've taken this job very personally, because this started out as a hobby and a passion. This was not something I started as an entrepreneur or a career to make money. So I absorbed the information because I loved it, and I kept growing and learning and challenging myself. And so I've gotten to this place where I can step into almost any arena. I don't know why I keep saying arena. #winning. I step into a room of winners and I just keep winning. Those guys drive me crazy, by the way. But I can go into almost any atmosphere and make something great out of it. I think that sets me hugely apart.
I would agree.
And I don't have to say that I'm a natural light specialist, because I've learned the art of using natural light to my benefit, but I've also, learned the art of studio photography too.
Right.
And using lights mixed with ambient light. That's a very difficult thing when you step into a tungsten lit room or a fluorescent lit room or LEDs that have a strobe effect,
Right.
according to your shutter. All these different atmospheres I've worked really hard to master. So it's not always perfect, because I don't always step into situations that I can make perfect in the amount of time that I'm given or the resources. But I think that hiring me is pretty smart, especially if you're wanting to set yourself apart image-wise.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. And it's, to me, from a perspective of, not even somebody in marketing, but just a consumer, I think that whenever I go to somebody's website or their social media and they have, professional photography that looks really great, that it's like, oh, they really care about their business, versus, the people, because it doesn't matter what industry we're talking about. There's a lot of people that are just in business to make money. They're not in business because, they love doing photography or they love doing marketing or they love putting roofs on, a roof.
Yeah.
They're literally just in it for money. And I think that you can really tell, whenever that comes across to where it's like, do you want to come off as you care about your business? Because most of us think about our business like it's, a member of our family, that's how I look at.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I've always called it my favorite child.
Oh,
I'm sorry, kids. I have 5 kids, but literally that's how I've treated it.
yeah. I have 5 kids too. And that's what, my business is like my 6th child, and it's like, and my kids also know, that it's important for me to work and take care of my business and my clients like it is a member of our family, so whenever I have to go into the office on a Sunday or something, my kids don't complain, it's just like, okay, what, does Chev have to take somebody to practice, or, what I mean? How can they help step into my role, because the business is important and they all understand that, the business is what supports our lifestyle. So, that's how we look at it. Like, it's just a member of our family.
Smart.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what is one project that still gives you chills whenever you think about it?
Chills in a good way or bad way? Or are you leaving that open?
I don't know. What was the first thing that came to your mind?
Fear. When I think of chills, I think of fear, but also I've felt chills when something's really good too. Ooh, that's a good one. Just like a project that's just come up in my mind a lot. I've had so many slips, I've had so many fear-based jobs.
Yeah. Did you ever have a job that you got hired for that you didn't think that you were good enough to do it, and then it came out amazing and you were like, oh, I really am good enough for this?
I've had lots of instances like that, but that's mostly the speed game.
Yeah.
So when I get thrown into this thing, they want more for less. They want tons of imagery or video or both in the shortest amount of time possible. Mm-hmm. And those things, so no, not to the extent that I thought about it and I thought I'm not qualified. I actually, in my mind, I thought I'm exactly qualified and this is what it's going to look like. Then I get there and it's nothing like that at all.
So the preparation that you had done.
Yes. All the planning of the images or the compositions or the people, it's all different than I imagined it. Mm-hmm. And so I've had that so often, and it is very frustrating. It hurts my body every time because I'm like, I planned for this, and this, and now I can't provide this.
Right.
Then I get done with the job, and the images are great. Like
Yeah.
it's not what I would have. I would have loved more time. I would have loved more of this or more of that. But I would say 90% of the time I don't get what I want.
Yeah.
You know, but there's like beauty in that struggle.
Yeah.
You know, it like hurts so bad, but then in the end you're like, man, but somebody else might crumble under this.
Yeah.
Like who knows?
Right.
Who knows? So man, I like a chilling project. That is like I am such a fearful pessimist that I oftentimes see the worst in something and then something okay or great comes out of it, you know?
Yeah.
So I have so many, that's why it's hard for me just to like pinpoint like one chilling thing. I mean, I remember times where I forgot to put film in the camera and shot a bunch of pictures, but I rolled with it, you know? I've had times where a light isn't working, or I forgot a softbox, or I mean, recently, you know, there are times when I have had to finish an entire project without the proper equipment and nobody knows.
Yeah.
I shot for this manufacturing company, and it was for like it was for a press release or something, but I had forgotten some very important gear, like oh man, this is like, there's so many of these. This is one job where I forgot the cable to my lights, so I couldn't even plug them in. So, but I had this backup flash that I bounced off of this wall, you know, and the photo turned out great.
Yeah.
But
So you were problem solving,
and nobody knew.
Yep. Okay.
Nobody knew,
All right.
but horrible.
Right.
Then this other job, I'm going to shoot this dog, you know, but I forgot the cables to my lights again. My light,
You need to tape those to the lights.
my lights don't have cables anymore.
Ah, okay. Perfect.
But I had to turn off this lady's computer and use her computer cable to plug my light in because it was the same cable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was humbling because she did know. I do not have this. Can we shut off your computer and I can use this cable? But I mean, I've had 100+ jobs where I'm just panicking.
Yeah.
Absolutely panicking. Where something didn't work out. So I've felt the chills a lot that way. But we could talk about a positive.
Let's talk about the positive.
There's a picture on this background where it says "work it" on my arm. There was a project called Dear World that was basically formed through Hurricane Katrina, where people could like write messages on their body to send to the world for like, you know, positive messages and things to like uplift their spirits. And a photographer would come in and any people that wanted to show up and write on their bodies a message, they could send it out. And it was called Dear World. So Spokane did a chapter called Dear Spokane, and it never really fully took off, but I got to be a part of the photographic start of it. And so I went to this like political rally of sorts, and I don't remember what they were rallying for. I'm a photographer. I went to capture pictures.
Right.
But I got to go to this rally where anybody that wanted to show up could come and write a message on their body, and I would photograph it. Could have been about anything. And so that was one of the favorite projects I've ever done because I didn't get paid well for it. You know, it was kind of like a volunteer project. I got to shoot all walks of life, all different colors, political beliefs, religious beliefs, you know, sexual orientations. I mean, I just shot all these people with these different messages that meant something to them.
Right. And
it was my favorite project to date. And I wanted to do more of it. So I reached out to Dear World and like thought, can I do something bigger with this? Can I, you know, I'll fly around, whatever. But it just the project didn't take off. Yeah. But I'd love to get involved with something like that again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love that. I love that is, you know, like what means the most to you. You went and did something you didn't even make any money on. It
was
just
people.
An experience. Yeah.
And it was people. And I normally don't get to shoot poor financial demographics.
Right.
So that was really cool too, because they had something to say and I got to be a part of their voice. And it's not something that's sustaining for my cost of living either.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. You know, another thing that I really, really love about you, because it's dear to my heart too, is that you often talk about being in recovery.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to share with me a little bit about that? I'll share a little bit about my story.
No, sobriety. I quit drinking 3 years ago. I had a little slip up, got a DUI, and it gave me enough pause to make a decision for myself. And I left it open-ended. I didn't know whether I was going to quit or not. And then I read a book called This Naked Mind. And when I got to the end of it, I was like, oh, this book wasn't about moderating at all. It was about quitting.
Right.
And it was an empowering book because it was like imagining a version of yourself in the future and like attaching a positive emotion to that feeling of who that person could be.
Mm-hmm.
And once I started to feel like what would it be like if Brady had more sleep, more energy, more creativity, more critical thinking, I mean, I was hooked to the idea of what I would be. So I decided to quit altogether. And it's been, the first year was tough because I was an alien in a world that I didn't know.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't having fun at social functions. I wasn't having fun. People going, "Oh, you don't drink? What's wrong with you?"
Right.
You know, I just wasn't having fun. The first year was very, very difficult. Now 3 years into it is my favorite thing about myself.
Right.
Because not only do I get to like heal some generational trauma and addiction with my family, but I also get to actually be awake.
Right.
Like I am absolutely awake. So now my job is like my passion on steroids because I'm always there. I'm always present.
Yep.
And that's one of the coolest things I can think of in this life is just to be present.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I 100% agree with that. My addiction was a drug addiction, you know, and I've been in recovery for over 7 years now, but I don't drink alcohol either. And it was not because I was an alcoholic, but because I just realized that even drinking alcohol or doing anything that was really like mind altering, you know, that it like took me away from being awake, you know, that like I was not at the highest consciousness that I could be, you know, and I wasn't as smart as I really am as a person, you know, and so being in recovery is like just the best thing that has ever happened to me and my family, you know, and so I love whenever there's other people that, you know, don't drink and things like that because we aren't, you know, those of the norm, you know, you go somewhere to a wedding and everybody else is drinking, you know, and it's like, you know, everybody's offering you a drink and you're not having fun if you're not drinking, you know, and it's like, man, I don't need that to have fun, you know. And the next day I can still get up early and be at my best and, you know, not take 3 days to recover from whatever it was that I went through.
Isn't that cool to be able, like, if I'm shooting a wedding, which I've only done one wedding in 6 years and I just did it, but I finished shooting about 1 a.m. and I made plans for the next morning. Yeah. Because I could.
Yep. Yeah. You don't have to take the whole next day of downtime and like, you know, worried about catching your flight and how you're going to feel on that flight. And yeah, I mean, just all the things. So
Hair of the dog. Hair of the dog. That was like my favorite. It was like, we know what to do when we're hungover. We just drink more.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. So I love that. And I love that you share that with other people too. Because I think that alcohol especially is just one of those things that people, they think that it's, you know, just like a normal thing and everybody does it. And I honestly feel like a lot of people are scared to say, no, thanks, I don't drink. You know what I mean? And like I'll see some people, you know, they're like holding a beer. It's like, you know, like you haven't even taken a drink of that, you know, and it's like, oh yeah, I just didn't want to say no. It's like, okay, you know?
Oh, I couldn't believe when people left drinks, you know?
Yeah.
I watched this girl, I took like a month off of drinking 3 years ago and there was like a November. I just decided to take a month off. But the day that I was going to drink again, I mean, I went out and, you know, drank again. But I watched I watched this girl finish all the half drinks on the table that people had left. And I remember I drank so proficiently and efficiently that I couldn't imagine leaving half a drink anywhere.
Yeah.
Like it was just crazy to me. It was like, what a waste of money.
Right.
You know, and that's why I don't drink.
Yeah, totally. 100% having that mindset versus.
Oh, yeah.
Know what
And
I mean?
you'd have friends that like they have 2 or 3 drinks in front of you and you're like, all right, I mean, I'll figure it out.
Yeah. So how is that? But how has being in recovery affected you in your business?
I thought that I would be richer, you know, and I thought I would be like way better at my job. But I think that but I'm not. I'm not richer and I'm not way better at my job. I was always good at my job. I was just high functioning.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is I can feel everything now.
Yeah.
Like I feel the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that is the human experience that I have chosen.
Yeah.
Like I always want to feel everywhere I go. You know, I just went to Paris and some of the touristy things that we were doing or putting ourselves in front of this cathedral or monument or whatever and taking a picture, that didn't do it for me. I don't care that I was there in front of it. What did I feel when I was there?
Right.
When I stepped into Notre Dame and they were having like mass and this lady was like singing the most beautiful thing I'd ever heard in my life. It moved me to tears.
Yeah.
And that was the first time in the whole trip of Paris where I was like, wow, like I'm feeling this. You You know, I didn't care about my picture in front of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
To come back and say, hey, kids, look, I was at Notre Dame.
Right.
I was like, no, but I came back with a story being moved to tears inside of a cathedral where this like incredible experience was happening.
Yeah. Where you got to hear an angel sing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think feeling. Yeah, I think without drinking, I just get to feel everything. And I watch people escape feeling all day, every day in different avenues. And I feel really bad for them.
Yeah. So that actually brings me into, because I actually like a lot of the images that I've seen you post online and stuff, I get a feeling from those.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you do that? Like, how do you do that? Because I don't look at everybody's pictures and feel, you know what I mean? I don't feel serene every lake shot that I see. You know what I mean? How do you do that?
That's where I feel that that's the gift part.
Yeah.
And that's what's kept me clicking. Wow. Just clicking along. It's kept me going, like I shoot a lot of people that I cannot get out of them feeling.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't have the ability or
Yeah.
the capacity. Those aren't the ones that move me.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't ever remember shooting them. I just get them what they need.
Mm-hmm.
But anytime that I can get somebody to lower down their walls and their inhibitions go away a little bit and they allow me in, to where I get to portray them the way that I see them, not necessarily the way that they see them.
Right.
Those ones. So when I post something, I probably do have an emotional attachment to it. I probably did have a cool experience with the person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it doesn't happen every time.
Yeah.
But yes, the gift part is that I can look at an image and get a feeling immediately as to whether it's authentic, real, or whether it's not.
Right.
Yeah.
So how would you say, because I mean, it's definitely hard to go into a business and capture their brand and bring some emotion into it, because that's like totally different than like anything else, because I've seen a lot of, and we work together on a couple of projects too, but I've seen you do it a lot, where like you're going in and you're getting images of a brand and putting, like there's some emotion into those branding pictures.
It's difficult to shoot something that I don't believe in myself. Like very, very difficult. I have thought about this a lot this last couple of weeks, and I definitely need to, I need to dive into a person's product or business before I can give them that. I really do.
Yeah.
And I mean that applicably to things that we're working on as well.
Right.
So,
I know that. You've called me, and been like, hey, like, I've got a major block here, and this was my experience, and I don't know how to get over that,
You know what I end up doing is sometimes when I'm shooting for a company and I really believe in their product, I start marketing for them. I'm not getting paid.
Right.
Like I start doing all this free cross promotional
Right.
stuff, and it's because I just believe in what they've got going on. And it's really cool when that happens.
Yeah.
That's not always the case,
Right.
either.
What do you want people to feel whenever they see your work?
This is easy for me, but when somebody looks at a photo, I want them to think, oh, who are they interacting with?
Yeah.
Like they can feel the other side of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason why like a photograph of somebody's face smiling at the camera doesn't do it for me artistically, because when you look at somebody just smiling at the camera, it's like what you see is what you get.
Right.
It's like AI. Give me a portrait of a woman smiling at the camera. It's like that says nothing about her world or the interaction she was having, unless it's laughter, or there's something in her eyes like the Mona Lisa. So I want them to like. I'm just looking at these pictures. A lot of the stuff I shoot now is like they're not looking at the camera.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird. I've like strayed so far away from that. I'm like, man, I need to do more portraits where they're looking at the camera, because I love that it looks like they're captured doing life or having fun or an interaction, or even if they're sad or if they've got something going on through their eyes, like that you want to think about. I just need it to evoke something like a question.
Right.
So yeah, I think that for the most part, the interaction, I want them to see and wonder what the interaction was like.
And you have a camera with you?
This is a special camera.
Yeah, tell me about that.
When I was buying and selling camera gear when I first started in photography, this was a camera that was unobtainable. It was like $1,000. It's a Nikon F3. It was the last professional camera that was all manual that Nikon made. So of course I wanted this thing for my whole career.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time I could afford it, it was super outdated. you know?
Oh,
So outdated, but I still had to buy it, and I've used it, and it's still my favorite. It doesn't make sense to use it financially at all because this film costs a lot more to develop and process and print, and but it's still a very romantic piece of gear for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
I was
proud
out
with this t-shirt.
backpacking, and I dropped it in a river and took it to the camera guy and just had him clean it up and redo the gaskets and seals and stuff, and it's worked perfectly.
Wow.
Can't do that with a digital.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
drop it in the river, it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there's something to be said about these old film workhorses, you know.
Yeah. You never know. I mean, there's probably people out there that would pay a lot of money just to have pictures done with that. You know what I mean? Not with digital. Actually, I have a client who he really likes like old pictures, old like, you know, the black and white. You know, so he gave me a headshot to put on his Google that was a black and white photo, and I'm like, this isn't going to meet their standards. Looks like Abraham Lincoln here.
I've thought about turning my camera to like my digital, just turning it to like black and white mode and just shooting for a whole week,
Yeah.
not being able to use color at all.
Yeah.
I thought that'd be really stretching, and that'd be cool.
It would be definitely artistic too. You know.
But an old-fashioned photo now is really hard. That's hard to sell shooting it with this.
Yeah.
When you can shoot it with a digital, and now these kids have filters and AI to make it look like old-fashioned. Until you have a photograph you can put in your hands and it's a Polaroid or something.
Right.
That's romantic. That's cool.
Yeah.
But everybody is seeing images online now.
Yeah.
So what does it matter? If you take a film photo and scan it in, digitize it, and put it online, or you put a filter on a digital photo, scan it, put it online, or not scan it, but just put it online, and it looks exactly the same as the film one. For me, that's where the romance died, was when things were only posted online.
Right.
But I have a metal plate portrait of myself that this photographer took, you know, with the curtain over his head. It was like an 8x10 camera. And I watched him develop it in a darkroom right in front of me. And that thing's really cool.
Awesome.
But I took a picture of it, put it
Put it
online.
online.
Yeah, now it's a digital photo, you know, whatever. But I still have the original piece at my house.
Right.
It's cool.
Yeah. So whenever you and I met and I explained to you what it is that I do, how do you see my skill paired with yours, and like how is that valuable to you?
I think I said at the beginning, an image without a voice doesn't, for an artist, it sucks. It's not getting seen at all. So what you do is you make things seen, but you also translate it into a return on investment. Like you make money off the image and the product itself, honestly. And I'm sure you have to work with quality products.
Yeah, absolutely.
'Cause you can market for a bad company and they're still not going to grow.
Yeah. I would say one thing about marketing for anybody, like it has to be either a quality product or a quality service. Like you can't continue to market for, you know, a service that is not good. You know what I mean? People they show up, they don't deliver. Well, now anytime somebody sees their ads and they're like, this company ripped me off, you know what I mean? Luckily,
Have you seen that?
Yeah, I have, but luckily never with any of my clients. Like we do a pretty thorough background check on everybody that we work with. You know, like we check their online presence. We check to see if they have any liens on their business or if they've ever had any lawsuits, you know, anything like that we can possibly pull from the people that we work with. So we do a really, really great like online vetting because I don't ever want to represent somebody that, you know, like I'm putting my name on what I'm doing for them, you know, and I mean, I love to brag about what we do for people, you know, and I definitely do not ever want to have somebody's logo on my website that doesn't deserve to be there. You know, I look at our service like we are an asset to businesses because we are, you know, like there's not a lot of other marketing companies that can come in and say, we will make you a return on investment. You know, they'll say, well, we're not going to make you any guarantees. And, you know, we can get you 1 million views or, you know what I mean? Something like that. It's like, which nobody cares about, you know, like nobody cares about the views. Nobody cares about the likes. What people care about is their phone ringing or the purchases on their website, you know? And so whenever we can come in and work with businesses and, we're a great fit for them because there's that personal part too, that like we have to align personally or it will not ever work. Like whenever you were talking about having a block, seeing those products every time that you walked into the room, I was like, man, do I know what you mean in that? Because I've worked with a lot of businesses where it's like, I'm just like physically, like I physically can't even move my hands on the keyboard to do stuff for them because of the way that they've treated us, or you know what I mean? Like just who they are personally, and where it's like, okay, like I just don't think this is going to be a great fit. The very first time that we met, you were like, oh, what were the words that you used? Because I like people to like acknowledge what we do for them. I do not like it whenever people like try to go around making up excuses to, like, this could have come from there. It could have come from there whenever we have solid data. You know what I mean? It's like, there's just some people that like, they will always be like, well, I asked this person and they said that they saw me on a phone app. It's like, well, Meta has contracts with phone apps. You know what I mean? Like just because they didn't see you on Instagram doesn't mean that they didn't come from our marketing, and then it's like, what other advertising are you doing? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
So like, there's just some people like that I just don't like to work with them. I love to work with people that like, they're like mind blown about what we do for them, and they're like, wow, we love working with you guys. We love to show up and work for those kind of people. We don't like people that complain about everything and, want to make things 10 times harder than they really are. So
I also like that there's now a vehicle that if I want to go out and shoot for a new company that's just a rebrand, I can not only say I'm going to shoot really cool photos and videos for you, but now we have something to do with them.
Right.
So I like that I have somebody to like do the second half of my storytelling with, so they can actually sell their products. Yeah. And then they're not only going to see value in you, but they'll see it in me too.
100%. And that's what I love the most is that it's like, because having a partner to where it's like, I know that I can count on, consistent quality images and videos, that, it's what we're doing is helping you as well, because we've talked about that as well, that where it's like, it's really hard to keep a client whenever you can't prove return on investment, it'll kind of just fizzle out, it's like, oh, you did a great job. We love everything that you did, but we're moving on, and they just repurpose everything that you've done for them continuously, instead of getting new shots done or.
And I did just have a client tell me that they were like, our amateur stuff that we do ourselves is actually performing better than the professional stuff that we've hired out. I was like, oh, can't argue with that. Yeah. What are you going to say? Yeah. And then some of the amateur stuff looks really bad to an artist, but they don't care. Mm-hmm. They're selling the product. They're making the money. So. Yep.
Why don't you tell everybody like all the photography that you want to do, who you're interested in working with?
I mean, we just talked about it. I want to shoot for companies that I believe in, what they do. And they already have either a badass reputation or a great product or an awesome service, but now they just want their image to match their reputation. And so those are my favorite clients. So that could be anywhere from like restaurants, hospitality, or architects. I love working in corporate spaces. Mm-hmm. I also love shooting people. Like that's where my passion started, was with people. So within those corporations, I like shooting all their headshots and team photos and lifestyle photography, like making sure that people can see and feel the culture of their business by looking at my images. I still shoot senior portraits, graduation portraits, and families. And
you have a studio downtown?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've got a portrait studio, so I can shoot, any time of year, or it can have a really like edgy, fashion-y sort of feel to it if somebody doesn't want like necessarily the downtown outdoor natural feel. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of like specifically who I would ask for, but that's pretty much like where I'm dialed into the direction I'm going. Yeah. But I'm a junkie for connections. So if somebody has an idea that they want to make art with that idea, I'm all about it. I want to be in front of people. Yeah.
Anybody that's got like passion projects and things like
that.
They're ready. Yeah. I love those too. And how can they connect with you?
The easiest way is through the website, because not only can they see the portfolio, but it has a contact me page that I actually I'm forced to deal with all of those. Mm-hmm. So it's the most efficient way to get a hold of me. That's www.bradycampbellphotography.com. Perfect. Yeah. Instagram is like where my latest work is, which is at the Brady Campbell. that's where you can see like my up-to-date life and business story.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Make sure you go follow Brady on Instagram at the Brady Campbell. And contact Brady if you are interested in some professional photography, because his work is great. Definitely go and check it out. Brady, I really appreciate you being the first person here with me.
Thank you.
Love our conversations every single time. I look forward to the next one. Thanks, everybody, for joining Elizabeth Maude with Maudie's Digital Marketing. If you own a business and your social media is not generating revenue, I would love to have a conversation with you. I love to work with local businesses in the Coeur d'Alene area. And if you're interested in coming in on this podcast and talking about your service and getting some content for your social media, get a hold of us. You can reach us at maudiesdigitalmarketing.com. That's MAUDIES digitalmarketing.com.